What's going on, guys? Ryan here. Time for a new topic. This topic comes from Jonathan Walden. He says, I'm concerned that VR, specifically Morpheus, is priced at $400. It'll create a barrier to entry and it'll get stuck in a cycle where no one buys it at first because it's expensive and has few titles, no one develops for it because there's no install base, and the VR platform dies. Your thoughts? It'd be great to hear back regardless if you want to make it an ROG topic. Definitely doing a topic on this because it's a really good one, and it's actually one of my concerns too, Jonathan. My big problem with virtual reality is something like this. Not necessarily that it's not going to be cool, or that it's not going to be immersive, or that it's a gimmick or something. I think I speak for most people that have tried Oculus, or the new people that are just now getting into Morpheus and trying it for the first time. I think I speak for most people when I say it's definitely cool. It's awesome. It's totally immersive. People love that experience, and it's definitely something people want to see succeed. The problem with it, though, is at a business standpoint, exactly what you're talking about. It's going to be an expensive peripheral, whether it's on Morpheus or Oculus Rift, which Oculus just recently announced, how much money it's really going to take to get into an Oculus, which is around $1,000. Morpheus, of course, is going to require a PlayStation 4 at $400. We assume Morpheus is going to be easily over $300, $400. It's definitely a big barrier of entry. And what is more scary about it is that games nowadays are super expensive. Just a regular console game, just a regular multi-million-dollar game is already a very tough, unsustainable business when you need to sell 5+ million copies of a game to finally earn profits. So this is definitely a big concern I have with virtual reality, and specifically Morpheus. And that's another thing with Sony, is that I do like that they're very serious about virtual reality, but they're so serious about it in the fact that they say, we don't want you to do Morpheus support. We want you to make a game completely from the ground up for Morpheus. We want a completely virtual reality driven experience, because Sony's been vocal about this, and Oculus has been vocal about this as well, which is games need to be built around the platform. You can't just patch it in afterwards and have it work. I mean, of course, people do that. There's a lot of PC games that do that with Oculus, certainly. But Sony's a very firm believer of the fact that games should be built from the ground up to really build that sense of presence. It's all about presence and actually giving you the sense that you're in a virtual environment, and that you're actually interacting with the objects and everything, and that you're actually there. That's the big thing. Sony's so serious about that. They want games completely made from the ground up. So this isn't like PlayStation Move, where, oh, we'll just patch it into BioShock, we'll just patch it into Killzone and everything. Of course, that's a completely separate peripheral with a different parameter of success, certainly, but you do see my idea, right? Sony is advising people to step away from patching and actually just create completely original games, which is going to be a very, very big problem when, how many people are going to buy this thing. That's going to be a really tough problem. And I have no clear-cut answer for this. I have no understanding of it. I'm just hoping that it actually works, but I can't see that many people buying Morpheus enough for it to be a sustainable business, which I know is kind of a shocker, kind of a crazy, sort of thing to say, but it's kind of the reality of it. I mean, even if half of the PlayStation 4 owners bought Morpheus, which is pretty much impossible, is that going to be sustainable? I don't know. Probably not, because that's you're going into how many people own a PS4, how many people own a Morpheus, how many people that own both of these things and buy a specific title. And virtual reality, developing a virtual reality game is not going to be cheap by any stretch, especially if you want to be a AAA, first-person experience from a big reputable developer. It's definitely not gonna. Yeah, man, I'm right there with you, Jonathan. It is definitely a big concern of mine. And this is something that has many examples. I mean, PlayStation Vita is a very similar victim to this, which is, it was pretty expensive when it came out. It was affordable, like $250, but certainly the memory cards don't help. It was a big, barrier there. No one bought it. Therefore, the AAA games that came out for it, no one were buying those. Therefore, the developers weren't really turning a profit on those games. Specifically, Sony was not turning a profit on their games. That's why they said they're not going to make AAA games for it. Therefore, other third parties are jumping ship, and the only people that can really thrive on it are independent developers. And the Vita is still a platform that sells reasonably well, but it's certainly not going to do gangbusters throughout its life cycle. Other platforms have pretty much died to this. Publishers have started to die out to things like this, and just more of a we can't sustain the business. We can't make AAA games anymore because people just aren't buying games. It's not even like a peripheral thing anymore. Publishers themselves are having problems staying open. Developers are having problems finding funding for games because publishers are so scared that they're not going to see their money back on their investment. It's a tough business. That's why I don't think that's why people often like say, you know, the games industry is dying or in ridiculous claims like that. It's not dying, but it's just becoming very unsustainable, which kind of does tell you that it's dying. It's not dying, but it's just a harder business to thrive in, I guess I should say. And to bring a platform like virtual reality into it is going to be an uphill battle, like a huge uphill battle. I'm glad that Sony is actually doing it though, because somebody has to do it. I think Nintendo might actually. Who knows? We don't know anything about the next Nintendo console, the NX. We don't know what they're really going to do yet. Maybe they'll jump into the VR space. I don't know. You know, Microsoft's definitely experimenting with it. We know they're doing AR right now with augmented reality with the HoloLens. I mean, everybody's trying to do something hot. Everybody's trying to do something new. The problem with always doing something like that is that it's going to be a really tough sell, and to make it thrive. Like, look at Sony's peripherals, look at look at Microsoft's peripherals, Kinect. There's plenty of examples where this does not go well, and will it happen with virtual reality? I don't know, but it's definitely possible. That's the best I can give you for your topic, but it was definitely a good one. If you have a good Ryan on Gaming topic, if you want to hear my opinion on a certain topic in video games, in the video game industry, then write it in the comments below, and if it's really good, I'll probably do it. In fact, if it's good, I'll do it. In fact, if it's decent, I'll do it. But if it's bad, I'm not going to do it. I don't do bad things. That does it for me in this video, and I'll see you all in my next video. Have a safe drive, guys. Wait, you're driving? You're driving while watching this? What the hell's the matter with you? Turn your video off, dumbass.